You felt it this morning. Maybe your back, maybe your head, maybe something dull and deep you couldn't quite name. You reached for something, a pill, a stretch, a distraction, and you moved on. But pain has been with your species since the very beginning. Long before medicine, long before language, long before you even had words to describe what you were feeling. And here's what almost nobody talks about. Pain has a history. The way your ancestors experienced it, explained it, and survived it looks almost nothing like what you do today. Understanding that history might completely change how you experience pain right now. Let's go back. Not 100 years? Not 1,000. Try 300,000 years ago. Your earliest ancestors are walking across open savanna. There are no hospitals, no painkillers, no doctors. If something hurts, your body is telling you something is very wrong, and you had better listen. Pain, at its core, is not your enemy. It never was. Pain is a signal. It is your nervous system doing exactly what it evolved to do. Research in pain neuroscience describes it simply: pain is not damage itself. It is the brain's best guess that damage is happening or about to happen. Pain is a guess, a prediction, an alarm your brain fires to protect you, not to punish you. Ancient humans who felt no pain didn't last long. There is a rare genetic condition today called congenital insensitivity to pain. People born with it feel nothing. No burns, no broken bones, no warning when the body is being destroyed. Nearly all of them suffer severe injuries by childhood. Pain, it turns out, is one of the oldest and most critical survival tools your species ever had. But here's where the history starts to get strange. For the first 100,000 years, humans had no way to stop pain. You simply experienced it, fully. Then something shifted. You started trying to control it. The earliest evidence of pain treatment goes back at least 60,000 years. Archaeologists studying ancient burial sites found traces of medicinal plants, yarrow, groundsel, ephedra, placed deliberately alongside the dead. Your ancestors looked at pain and decided, this thing can be fought. By 10,000 years ago, herbal remedies were becoming more systematic. Willow bark, the same compound that would eventually become aspirin, was being used across multiple ancient cultures simultaneously. Cultures separated by thousands of miles landed on the same solution, the same tree, because pain was universal, and your ancestors were paying attention. But here's the counterintuitive part. Even with these remedies, ancient humans may have had a very different relationship with pain itself. Research into traditional hunter-gatherer communities suggests that chronic pain as a widespread condition is largely modern. Persistent, diffuse, multi-site pain, the kind that now affects over 1 in 5 adults in the developed world, was far rarer. Why? Movement is one answer. Your body evolved to move constantly. Ancient humans walked 12 to 15 kilometers a day, climbed, lifted, crouched, sprinted, rested, and repeated. The spine, the joints, the muscles used the way they were designed to be used. Sitting still for 8 hours and then lying flat for 8 more is, from your skeleton's point of view, deeply strange. And it hurts. Stress is another answer. Ancient stress was acute: predators, hunger, rival groups. The danger would spike and then resolve. What your ancestors didn't face was low-grade, chronic, never-ending psychological stress, debt, deadlines, the constant hum of not being enough. Research now shows that psychological stress physically amplifies pain. The brain regions that process emotional distress and physical pain overlap. When you are anxious, pain is louder. When you are safe, it is quieter. This is not weakness. This is ancient wiring. Jump forward to early civilizations. In ancient Egypt, poppy plants appear in medical records going back nearly 4,000 years. The ancient Sumerians called it the joy plant. Opium worked. It silenced the alarm. But even the earliest healers noticed something: give someone enough of this substance, and the alarm never quite turns back on the same way again. The first hints of dependence were being observed thousands of years before anyone had a word for addiction. In ancient Greece, pain took on a philosophical dimension. Suffering was not just physical, it was moral. Healers treated the whole person. Music was prescribed, rest, conversation. What we might today call mental health care was woven into physical healing from the very beginning. In ancient China, acupuncture was developed on the idea that pain arose when the body's natural energy was disrupted. Modern research on acupuncture remains contested. But the underlying insight, that pain is not just a local event in damaged tissue, but a whole body phenomenon involving the nervous system and brain, turns out to be remarkably accurate. Then came the 19th century. Two developments changed everything. The first was anesthesia. Before the 1840s, surgery was performed on fully conscious patients. The screaming was considered unavoidable. Then a surgeon performed the first publicly demonstrated operation under general anesthesia. The patient felt nothing. The audience was stunned into silence. Within a year, anesthesia had spread across the developed world. The boundary between pain and surgery had been permanently severed. The second was the hypodermic needle. Morphine could now be delivered directly into the bloodstream. It was miraculous. And it was devastating. The American Civil War saw widespread use of morphine on wounded soldiers. Hundreds of thousands became dependent. The pattern was set, a powerful painkiller discovered, used broadly. And then its shadow, addiction, withdrawal, death. Aspirin arrived in 1899. Derived from that same willow bark your ancestors had used for 60,000 years, the solution had always been there, growing in the ground. In 1965, researchers proposed a gate control theory of pain. The idea that the nervous system has a gating mechanism that can increase or decrease the flow of pain signals to the brain. It was the first major framework explaining why the same injury could hurt more in some conditions than others. Why rubbing a bumped elbow actually helps. Why distraction reduces pain. The gate can be opened or closed by emotion, by attention, by context. Pain was not a simple input-output system. It was filtered, shaped by the brain. Then came the opioid crisis. In the 1990s, a new class of opioid painkillers was marketed as safe and non-addictive. Prescriptions skyrocketed. Addiction followed. Hundreds of thousands died. The history of pain medicine had repeated itself at massive scale. Today, pain science is undergoing another revolution. Researchers now understand that chronic pain is not simply prolonged acute pain. It is a different condition entirely. In chronic pain, the nervous system itself has changed. The alarm has become oversensitive. The brain starts treating non-threatening signals as dangerous. This is called central sensitization, and it explains why people with chronic pain can hurt intensely even when scans show no visible damage. The pain is real, but its source is no longer just the original injury. It has moved into the system itself. This changes everything about how pain should be treated. Not just drugs, not just surgery, but sleep, movement, stress, meaning, connection. The same things ancient healers, in their own languages, were reaching for thousands of years ago. You live in the most medicated era in human history, and yet chronic pain is more widespread than ever. Over 1.5 billion people live with it every day. Your ancestors felt pain with no way to stop it. You feel pain with every tool available to suppress it. And somehow, the pain persists. Maybe that's because pain was never just a signal from a damaged body. Maybe it was always a message from the whole system asking to be heard, not just silenced. Tonight, if something hurts, you'll reach for something to make it stop. That instinct is ancient. It goes back to the first person who ever pressed a hand to a wound and wished it would go away. But the real question, the one pain science is only beginning to answer, is not how to stop the alarm. It's what the alarm is trying to tell you.